Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? How would you rate yourself when responding to a crisis? Did you know that you can train your brain to improve your reactions? Yeah. When I first began researching about preparedness and survival, I can't tell you how many hours I spent in shock and in panic. I read about golden hordes who would, very soon descend upon my suburban home, shooting and stealing and blah, blah, blah. Although not in that particular order, of course. According to some survivalists, we are approaching a tipping point at which our world will begin to run out of oil, and we'll be thankful to have two rocks to rub together to create heat. Yeah. Then there were tales of a hidden planet called Planet X on its way to destroy Earth. Dear me. So, in my early prepping years, there were days I was not so sure I even wanted to survive such scenarios. Anyone who has only known security is in for a shock when their normalcy bias begins to struggle with information about these possible scenarios and many others far more realistic. So I have some ideas, and I'm just going to, throw at you about how to train your brain and improve your crisis response. These have actually worked for me, and I've read about these things in books, articles, and I've used them, and they worked. Now, of course, not everything is going to work for everybody, but recently, I have come across some very interesting statistics. Did you know that in a crisis, 10% of people will actually panic? 80% of people will do nothing. Only 10% will act quickly and appropriately. So what percentage are you in? As a mom, an aunt, a grandmom, right? I realize that my children, my nieces, my nephews, my grandchildren, can't afford for me to be part of the 10% that panics or 80% who does nothing. Parents do not have the luxury of panicking or breaking down in tears when a situation desperately calls for logic and purposeful action. We have to be the rational ones. Picture this situation. You and your child, or your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephew, whatever, okay, are in the middle of an intense emergency. The young ones are already scared. Perhaps they're hysterical. The last thing they need is for you, their guardian, their parent, their grandparent, their aunt, their uncle, or their loved one, who has lost all sense of reason. Okay? They don't need you running around like a chicken without a head, screaming, going, "Oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do." At that moment, in spite of your own fears, you must be the adult in this situation because you are now in charge. The options otherwise are not pretty. You have to put on your thinking cap and your adult panties and say, okay, now is the time. So, how do you cultivate a mindset capable of handling a major crisis without experiencing it firsthand or living in a war zone? Okay? Because Lord knows, with the society that we're living in today, we never know what the hell's going to happen next. I'm being serious. and you know it. I mean, this really should be number one. You need to decide what group you belong to. Are you going to be the jackass? Or are you going to be like, all right, gather around. This is plan A. All right? Because you already have it written down in your prepper notebook, and you've memorized this, that this is what's going to happen. Okay? That is, you decide that you will be that 10% who takes appropriate action when faced with an emergency or a drastic change. That choice fosters a survival mindset. Have we not been practicing this crap for years? And saying, I'm going to be that person. I will step up. I will be the commander-in-chief. I have on my big girl panties. Let me put my hair back. Okay? It's time, y'all. Let's go. Number one, be situationally aware always. What do I always say? Head on a swivel. Know your surroundings. Know what's going on. Okay? No, pea soup did not shoot out my mouth. Do your planning and your thinking now. This is why I have been saying for 3 years now, get your prepper notebooks. Write down everything that you think is so important that you will, want to remember. Situational awareness is a foundational skill that takes practice to develop and consistent use to maintain and improve. Make it a habit to ask yourself, what if? And I know that every single one of us are what-ifers. We wouldn't be parents if we were not what-ifers. Make it an everyday habit to be observant of the people and activity around you. What do I always say to you, ladies? Head on a swivel. Don't even go shopping by yourself. Why? Because you don't know what Tom, Dick, and Harry is around you looking to do what. All right? Number two, be smart about where you go. Hello? This is closely related to situational awareness. When it comes to survival, nothing beats not being at the wrong place at the wrong time. If you're hearing about mob riots in the local shopping mall, are you going to go there because you need to get your newest fashion line from Victoria's Secret? No. It doesn't make sense. Avoid it. You don't need it. Last year's line is perfectly fine. Okay? What if a flu virus is making the rounds again? It makes sense to wash your hands frequently and keep your environment clean. Yes? Stay away from big crowds. If that means keeping your kids home for a few days, keep them home. Act like it's summer. We'll be all right. Just make sure that they are occupied at all times so you don't start pulling your hair out. Even the glitter strands, leave them alone. This step requires you to really take charge of your life. And I know we all think we have it all together, but let me reassure you, we do not. I don't even have it all together. Even though I like to tell myself I do, I don't. Okay? Stand your ground. Your actions will be questioned. Okay? It's better to round up the kids, leave the park where a group of questionable people are congregating, okay, and be on the safe side than to ignore the possibility of danger and end up in a situation that you can't get yourself out of. Don't ever put your safety and that of your children in danger to avoid hurting someone's feelings or looking, foolish because you got your resting bitch face on. Okay? It don't matter no more. Okay? Because everybody gets offended now. But who cares? All right. I'm not going to have my little ones getting hurt because Karen and Kyle got offended. Well, tough. All right. I don't like your body language. Move it. The next one is take control of the electronics. I know. Just hush. Listen. Another one related to situational awareness is get control of the electronics if you're in your life. If you've got, I don't even have my phone on me because I don't even know where it's at. Because that's how much I care about electronics, okay? Now you say, I don't have my shite together, okay? But if you're like this on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, you don't know your situational awareness, do you? No. I can't imagine anything that would put your life in more danger more quickly than having your face buried in your cell phone. Remove it. It'll be okay. Facebook will still be there, and so will all those videos on TikTok and Instagram. Alright? And if that does not describe you, it probably describes someone in your family, hence your teenage children, your grandchildren, your nieces and nephews, because I know it describes every single one of mine. All right? Situational awareness is 100% impossible when your mental focus and all five senses are focused on a tiny electronic screen. My electrodes are malfunctioning right now because I'm talking about electronics. It's arguably the opposite of training your brain. Whatever brain cells we have left after being like this all day on a phone, okay? Take steps to limit the amount of time you spend in front of screens, even if it's your TV, even if it's your computer, your cell phone, your tablet, whatever, for survival reasons alone. This is why I said in the video that I did, my word, the other day, I unplug. I have to. My brain actually hurts after being on this stuff for too long. I'm like, even though I have glasses, I'm like, no, go. Okay? The next one let's talk about is to keep learning. Train your brain with training. Make a list of skills and training that would be valuable for you to learn, and set some goals for acquiring it. Schedule on the calendar, follow through. Even if it's just reading a book that has to do with the skill set that you want to learn. Get the book and read it, okay? If you can't physically get up and do it yourself, read the book. Knowledge is power. I have told you this, I don't know how many times. Knowledge is power, okay? The next one is communication. Communicate. It is essential, okay? It's so important. Communicate with your spouse, with your family, about the plans that you are putting into place. Heck, get them their own prepper notebook and tell them, write down your thoughts. Write down what you think is important. And then let's put our prepper notebooks side by side and say, okay, pros, cons. Okay? Even better, if you have anyone that's in the military, that's in your family or your friends or your close circle, give them a prepper notebook and say, write everything down that I need to know. Just saying. Okay? So why? Why? Just why? Right? First and foremost, should anything ever happen to you, they will need to know where the food is stored, how to prepare it, how to purify water. All of this is going to be in your prepper notebook. This is why I have been trying to dig into your brains and say, prepper notebook, write it all down. How to take care of illnesses, injuries, and so much more. Remember that training that I just mentioned, what you learn and the skills that you acquire must be shared with your loved ones. Even if they don't want to hear you talk about it anymore because, oh my God, all you do is talk about prepping. If anything ever happens to you and they find those prepper notebooks, guess what? That's gold. That's gold, because they're not going to want to ever throw that away. Why? Because that is what all they have left of your handwriting. You still haven't thrown away pictures of your great-grandparents, have you? Or those recipe cards, have you? Why? Why? Because it has their handwriting on it, right? Trust me. So, otherwise, in a crisis, it will be you and you alone trying to manage this whole scene, this whole chaotic craziness scene. And why? Why do that to yourself when you can easily teach and train those closest to you? Even in the aftermath, when you're not here no more. Okay, so here's another one for you. Create a written plan for responding to crises. Like I said, prepper notebook. Even if it's just index cards, and you get that, those little, the plastic flip things with the flip lid, just put your index cards in there. For specific reasons, such as a house fire, job loss, or if you're a woman who must, or you choose to live alone, put your plan in writing, and if possible, actually practice the actions that will keep everyone safe. In the case of a financial crisis, write out a step-by-step plan. This is also very helpful. What bills have to get paid first? What expenses can be eliminated or drastically cut? If cell phones are on the chopping block, where can you get a super cheap alternative for emergency calls only? What super frugal recipes can you begin to learn in advance? Okay, putting your ideas in writing trains your brain to focus on solutions to a problem and not just the problem itself. Then, if the crisis really does happen, you will have already processed the solutions, and if panic sets in, the written plans will ground you, and you'll say, okay, here's the solution to the problem. I don't need to panic because it's right here. You will no longer be frozen with fear. Okay? Here's the next one. Let's talk about learning to improvise. You won't always have the right tool for the job, right? Can you improvise when responding to crises? Instead of asking where you can find a shovel to dig a hole, ask what things you can use to dig a hole. Before you go to bed tonight, ask yourself what you could do if a disaster struck tonight, and just what you have in the house right now, this very second. Okay? What could you use to substitute for the things that you have not bought yet? Do you have alternatives for cleaning? What options do you have for cooking? Grid down right now. Okay? Next thing, develop muscle memory. Bug out now and see how you do. Okay? Or for something more low-key, go to an impromptu picnic and see how well you can do with what you have on hand right now. Okay? Here's the next one. Avoid complacency. If human nature, gets too complacent, okay, once you think you are fully prepared, which we never really truly are anyway, okay, food for thought, you may stop thinking and you may stop planning, okay? However, being prepared is a lifestyle. It's not a checklist. It's really not. You can always be more prepared. And a good way to not get complacent is to pick a topic every single month and work on it. Now, check your food storage. 1 month. Is it stored correctly? Will you actually eat it? Does anything need to be replaced? Do you like your inventory system? Here's another one for another month. Update your prepper notebook. Walk through your house and look through your computer files to see if there's anything else that you need to add that you wouldn't want to be without. Another month, you can sort through your ammo, clean your firearms, make sure they are in good working order, and then, when was the last time you practiced going to the firing range? Train your brain to remember that there is always something to be prepared for. Do not ever forget, the more mundane tasks like reducing clutter and keeping up on top of your finances, the more you stay on top of, the easier it is to enjoy day-to-day life. And here's the last one. Practice breath training. And I'm sure you're thinking, say what? Just listen. There is a very small but very highly practical skill for responding to crisis. It's something I call survival breathing. Take 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4 to inhale. Go. Taking slow, deep breath. Hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Relax 4 seconds. Take another breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. This breathing technique does something amazing to your brain. After all, it's where all of your reactions begin. With practice, you can train your brain to do this automatically when needed. So remember, breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it 4 seconds, exhale 4 seconds. It works. It really, truly does. Especially when you're having panic attacks, stuff like that, okay? All right, guys, I hope this helped. I will see you in the next one, okay? You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fear less. Ciao.